to do the housework or exercise in your favourite evening dress. There's just one rule. If you dress up, you donate at gofundme.com/Formal Friday. Please give what you can to support our frontline heroes. #Formal Friday. This Friday, April 24th. Dress up to the nines and donate to the front line.
Now more than ever, we know that support matters. That's why we at Permanent TSB are working hard to ensure our customers and colleagues in our communities stay safe in these uncertain times. We've created space in our branches so you can bank safely. But if you prefer to stay at home, you can continue to bank with us in-app or through open24.ie. Talk to our team in branch or visit permanenttsb.ie for updates. Permanent TSB plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
At Harvey Norman, we're here to help. Our online store is open and we can deliver the products you need to your home. So if you're looking for technology to help you stay connected to work, school, family and friends, a home office desk, a spare bed, or you need to replace a washing machine or fridge, then visit us at harveynorman.ie. And right now, get free delivery on all orders of furniture, beds or mattresses over €50. Harvey Norman, your appliances, technology, furniture and bedding specialists.
Go!
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
You're very welcome back. Happy to say Eric Donovan joins us on the line. Evening, Eric. How are you?
Good evening, Joe. All good. All good.
So,
Thanks.
what are you planning on doing here? Talk to me.
What I am planning on doing and what I am hoping to achieve is a 5-hour skipping marathon for young Dan Donovan, who is in bad need of life-saving treatment in the USA, which is costing $2.1 million. And he has a very rare genetic neuromuscular disease. SMA is a spinal muscular atrophy. So he's been very unfortunate to be diagnosed with that. And time really isn't on his side. So he needs to kind of get this treatment before he's 2 years of age. And he just turned one there last month or the month before. Yeah.
I heard his parents interviewed a couple of weeks ago, Niall and Aisling, parents to Dan, and just the hand they've been dealt is so cruel and so tough. Dan is a young child, newborn, everything seemed to be fine, and then he was diagnosed with this genetic neuromuscular disease, spinal muscular atrophy type 1 and scoliosis. And in short, as you've rightly said, they were offered a variety of treatments, and it seems the real key treatment and the real drug available in the US is the one that can do the most good, and the cost of that, $2.1 million. I mean, it's a scandal that it's costing $2.1 million. I don't care what the treatment is, it's just a scandal. And for a normal family who had many other plans, I'm sure, $2.1 million is an impossible amount. They've already crossed the $1 million mark, which is extraordinary. 30,000 different groups or individuals have made donations as of Sunday.
It's just, you said it there, it's extraordinary. You know, there's ordinary people doing extraordinary things for this campaign. And it's wonderful to see as well, you know, because we are already in a global pandemic, and, you know, life is tough for a lot of people, but like, people are uniting and they're coming together. You know, they're a great family. They come from a great community. I've been very fortunate to get to know them. Back in 2018, it was the first time I met Niall. Niall was just playing his last season with the Laois intercounty senior panel, but he was also a club player for Courtwood, and I came into the Courtwood GA team. Courtwood are a small little village now, a tiny little village on the Laois-Kildare border, not far from Athy town where I grew up. Ballybrittis is the name of the little village, and the team. There was a group of lads there. I was brought in to be the strength and conditioning coach. John Doran brought me in. Eddie Kinsella was the coach. Fergal Byron, former All-Star, was the one of the selectors as well. And it was like they brought me into the coaching staff as a strength and conditioning coach. And I met these wonderful group of lads. I'll never forget it because we achieved so much in that season, that 2018 season. They won the Intermediate Championship for the first time in 23 years. And it was an incredible feat. And everybody pulled their weight, every single person. And I remember Niall particularly, he stood out. He just really stood out, Niall Donovan. And every time he spoke, everybody listened, and he gave his all for the club. And, you know, even when he retired at the end of the 2018 season with the Laois panel. He retired from intercounty because he wanted to give back the last few years he had playing to his club, and because the club have been so good to him for so long, he wanted to spend his last few years playing, giving it to the club and giving it to his community. And then his wife Aisling as well, who's also played at the very top level as well, intercounty level. So like they're a great family, great GAA people. And one thing about that win I'll never forget, it was probably the first time I got an insight into how special the GAA is, because I saw grown men and women crying when they won that intermediate championship in O'Moore Park, and they were back in the senior division for the first time in a long time, in a generation for a lot of people. So when I realised the true gravity of young Dan's plight, and the serious situation that he was in, I just felt like I have to be able to help out here. I want to do something. What can I do? And skipping was something that, I really love. It's one of my favorite parts of actually physical activity and working out. One of my favorite training methods as a boxer as well is the skipping. I love doing all the tricks and skills and drills on the rope. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll skip for an hour. I've never skipped for an hour in my life. I've often done 10 3-minute rounds or 12 3-minute rounds, but I've never skipped for longer than 10 minutes straight. And then one day I said, hey, I'll skip for 20 minutes straight just to see before I announce anything. And the 20 minutes straight wasn't too bad. It was handy enough. And I thought, an hour would be too easy. And people probably wouldn't even donate if they said, if Eric Donovan said he's going to skip for an hour, they'd probably say he'll do that on his head. And so I thought, you know what, let's up the ante. I think I'll do it, maybe a fundraiser and a challenge. I'll skip for 3 hours. Sorry, first I suggested 5. My sister thought I was crazy, and Laura, my fiance, said no, 5 hours. She said, are you crazy? She was thinking the same. You'll never do 5 hours. And I said, maybe 3. And then I thought, no, I want to raise 5,000. So let's try and get €1,000 for every hour of skipping. And so it's out. The challenge is out. And yesterday I skipped for 2.5 hours. So it's the longest I've ever skipped. I'm very, very sore today. My lower back is sore. My calves are burning. They feel like cavity blocks trying to walk around. But at least I know there's a little bit of a psychological bonus there, that I know I can do half of 5 hours. And I know if I can do half, I just have to replicate that again. And the motivation for this is always going to be young Dan. That's going to be the motivation, because there's people across the country doing extraordinary challenges, and they're doing Trojan work. Even the Thai GA club was brilliant as well. They all got together, and I was delighted to see that, because that's my hometown as well. And, they've raised a ton of money as well. And just, it's fantastic to see. And I know come Saturday that I'll be pumped up and ready to reach my 5,000 target. I'm halfway there. I have 2.5 grand raised so far. And I want to thank everybody that has done that and dipped in their hands into their pockets for that. I really do appreciate it. And I know it means the world to Niall and Aisling Donoghue. So come in on Saturday, and I'm appealing to everybody you don't have to skip for 5 hours, but if you want, skip with me, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And, my son Troy was out there yesterday with me, and fair play to him. I did 2.5 hours, but he accompanied me for about an hour of that. And he was learning how to skip himself. He just turned 8 there 2 weeks ago. So he's actually enjoying it, and he was great company for me yesterday. But my appeal to everyone will be to skip for whatever, send in some pictures and hashtag it, do it for Dan, skip for Dan. And, I'll retweet them, I'll share them, and we try and build a lot of awareness on Saturday, and hopefully raise a ton of money that can help to contribute and get Dan closer to that, to his target.
What's the best way to follow you, Eric, or what's the best way to make the donation?
I think the best way would be, my pinned tweet has the GoFundMe link for my challenge. I have it on my Lily White Lightning Facebook page. I have it in my Instagram bio, and I'm going to do the challenge live on my YouTube channel, just an Eric Donovan YouTube channel that I set up only a couple of weeks ago for the purpose of bringing some free online fitness classes to everybody throughout the isolation period of COVID-19. So yeah, I mean, you can get my links for donation on any of my social media platforms. If you can't come across it, just Google "Do It for Dan" GoFundMe, and it's all going into one place. It's all going into one place anyway. But I'd be really, really happy if people could just contribute in anything at all.
Good man. Well, listen, we'll give that a retweet as well. So if they're following the Off the Ball Twitter page, they'll find your tweet. When you were doing the 2.5 hours and we're building up to 5, what part of you struggles the most physically? Do you really I presume you're not running out of breath. Is there a certain? Is it the lower back? Is it the calves? Is it your concentration?
Yeah.
What tends to go?
Yeah. Funny enough, it's a good job that I actually did a bit of training for this. I did 1 hour and a half last Friday, and then yesterday I did 2.5 hours. I'm not going to do any more now until Saturday. What I realised on last Friday when I was out doing my first real training session, that the concrete floor was pretty tough on the old feet, and the feet were burning. And I'm lucky enough that I have a couple of small tin foam exercise mats. So for the training session yesterday, I taped up a few of them, and they're actually far better surface, a nice skipping platform. So there was learning in that. So yesterday, my skipping for 2.5 hours made a little bit easier with the mats. What else? I think my knees, the joints of my knees are very sore. A lot of pressure on them, because you're skipping into one position for so long. I'm trying to use all of the little tricks and skills. And people want to see tricks and skills as well, but that takes up a lot of energy too when you're trying to skip. So I'm trying to find ways where I can just really kind of plateau and just keep the movement, keep the time going. It would be impossible to skip for 5 hours without taking a break. So I've broke it down into 10 30-minute sessions. That's going to be my plan. Every half hour, I'm going to take 2 to 3 minutes break just to refuel and stretch the legs. And you never know, I might have to go for a pee or something like that. So that's my plan. But them 2-minute breaks and 2 to 3 minute breaks, they're not going to be deducted from the 5 hours. I said I'm going to skip for 5 hours. I am going to skip for 5 hours. Laura is acting as a masseuse, a physio, everything for the last few days. But fair play to her. She's helped me out. She's rubbing the big knots out the back of the calf. Or just feel like cavity blocks. But it's like I said, Joe, it's the motivation. It is the motivation of my task is tough. It's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. But the task that young Dan Donovan faces is a huge, it's a humongous task. So anything that we could do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because as I mentioned, and I didn't actually realise that you knew Niall, but I did hear Niall and Aisling interviewed a couple of months ago, and it's an interview that stays with you because they're new parents. They were so excited. They were looking forward to all the usual things, and they're given the devastating news that this is potentially incurable. They then find out there's a treatment available, and you're told it's €2 million, $2 million. And then the window as well for Dan to get that treatment is narrow when you're talking about that sum of money. And I just saw them quoted here a couple of days ago. And Aisling is making the point that, you still don't forget the day he was diagnosed. They talk about being heartbroken, and it was difficult to see any light at the end of the tunnel. She says that what's happened in the last few weeks has just been remarkable. The level of support, generosity that people have shown has just been amazing, and it gives us real hope for Dan. And like I said, $1 million raised in 45 days, 30,000 different donations. You're going to throw in your lot now. I've no doubt you'll break the 5,000. But for them to have hope, for them to not feel like they're alone, especially at the moment. It's so hard to raise money at the moment because everybody needs money, frankly. Every charity needs money. So there has been something very special about the way the GAA community initially rallied around the couple, and it's extended beyond that now, I think.
Oh, it has, without a doubt. Like I always say this, like, I think that what the GAA have created is something special, and the way they do stick up and back each other and rally around for each other, it is really special, and it's lovely to see. Just the other day, I was texting Niall actually, and I don't normally text him on Instagram. I normally be texting him through Twitter or WhatsApp or something. But I private messaged him from Instagram, and I just realised the last message he sent me was when I won the Irish title in 2019. He didn't make it there to the fight. A load of his teammates did, but the reason he didn't make it was because he was in the hospital, and Aisling was giving birth to Dan on the same just 2 days before she was still in the hospital when I was winning the fight. So he watched the fight in the hospital, and on the message, he said, "I just caught your fight from the hospital. Well done. You know, it was great." And just thinking like that, you know, around that time for the two of us were two, you know, special times. You know, I became the professional champion of Ireland. He's had his first child. You know, a newly married man, new home, everything, just so much going for him. And then, you know, less than a year later, you know, they get the dreaded news that, you know, every parent it's every parent's worst nightmare. But as you said there, what's the results of the community effort from people around this country is giving them hope. And I genuinely believe in the people of Ireland, and I genuinely believe in everybody that's getting stuck in for this very worthy cause, that we will reach the money, and he will get over to the USA and get that treatment he badly needs. So
yeah. Well, again, you're listening to Eric Donovan if you're just tuning in. This Saturday he's going to raise a ton of money, we hope. He'll be skipping for 5 hours. You can check out his YouTube channel. You can check out his Twitter feed as well. All the details are there. We'll retweet them as well. And he's going to be sore afterwards, but it's a great cause and we wish you well. In the midst of all of this strangeness at the moment, and you're a deep thinker, anytime I talk to you that becomes very apparent, and you've an interest in psychology, and the pressures on everybody right now are severe, be they an initial worry about health, be it the difficulties of quarantine or self-isolation, and then I'm sure yourself as well, financial worries. I mean, you're a boxer, you're not boxing right now. There's a whole maelstrom of stuff being thrown at people. How are you dealing with things? What are your thoughts on how we're all doing?
I'm just trying to stay positive in the situation. I'm trying not to look at this pandemic as a disadvantage. I'm trying to use it as an advantage in my life, an advantage as in opportunities to adapt and to learn new things about myself, about my family. You know, I've my two kids are with me throughout this duration, and obviously, you know, there's the four of us here and Laura, and we're just spending quality time together. I'm trying to bring online fitness classes to people across the country. They're free, they're accessible to everybody. Thankfully, the Kildare Sports Partnership have got behind that initiative and sponsored it. But yeah, I was talking to a guy today who actually said a great thing. He quoted Brian Cody actually when he said it. He said Brian Cody said some of the hardest things for people to do are the simplest of things. You know, and that's all that's asked us. All that's asked of us is to stay at home, wash our hands, and try and just follow the safety measures that, you know, that are put in place. But sometimes that's the most difficult thing for people. We got to stay active though. We got to have a routine in our day. You got to stay in contact with people, whether it's on social media or by phone or whatever. Try not to, even though it is an isolation period, try not to self-isolate or ostracize yourself. You know, to stay connected with people through phone calls, through text messages, whatever, and get a routine from morning to night. If you don't get a routine, you're just going to regress. And you know what happens when you regress? Your diet becomes bad. If you get yourself stuck in a rut, your diet starts to become unhealthy. Your TV binge watching and all that kind of stuff, everything about your life then starts to go downhill. So you got to get up, get a routine, get a structure in your life and a plan, and keep connected with the people that are close to you.
And I presume for you, because I know recently as well, you changed promoter and you're kind of really trying to push and win that European title and do what you can in the time you have as a fighter. You must feel the loss of this time as a, 34-year-old very acutely. Are you trying not to focus too much on that?
No, I just broke into the top 10 in the European rankings. But honestly, the boxing is not the most important thing in my life right now. And, you know, the health and safety of all my family and friends are, and, you know, just trying to help each other out. And because there is a lot of people, this is a very serious situation that we're in. And it's staggering as well when you hear the number of deaths and the number of cases now is still going on, you know, new cases. And we really don't know. We don't see the end line or the finish line, so to speak. But I feel kind of reassured in the sense that knowing that we're living in the 20th century. There is a huge advancement in technology and medicine. And I've no doubt in my mind that the best people, the most intelligent, gifted people in the world are working around the clock to try and get a vaccine for this. I know it's hard. I know they're facing an uphill battle, but I've no doubt in my mind that they will be doing everything in their power, and hopefully they can eventually achieve that.
Yeah, no, here. Listen, best of luck on Saturday. I'll be dipping in and out. I'm not going to watch you for the full 5 hours, if that's okay.
Just dip in. Someone said to me the other day, Eric, I don't know if I could watch it for 5. Never mind, skip for 5. And I just said, that's okay. Just dip in for a little while and give me a bit of support, and don't forget to donate. Well,
I'll do that. And I want a bit of commentary out of you. I want to know how much pain you're in at any given moment, what your thoughts are. I want a bit of performance out of you. I get if you're not going to do the fancy tricks, but a little bit of chat out of you is what I want.
Oh, I have to chat. I lose my mind if people don't keep me company. That's why I said to Troy and Jack and Laura, you better come out and talk to me. Don't leave me out in the backyard on my own.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I need company, and I want to hear people engaging and sending in photographs, even if, like I said, if they're skipping for a few minutes or whatever. It's all about building the awareness and getting Dan to his target.
Well, listen, good man. Somebody wondering again about the details for Dan, and the simplest thing to do for Eric this Saturday is just Google Eric Donovan GoFundMe, and then the hashtag on Twitter, Do It For Dan, is out there. Or even if you just Google Do It For Dan, you'll find a multitude of ways to donate. Listen, Eric, fair play to you, man. Very best of luck on Saturday. I will dip in and out, and we might chat to you next week when your legs don't feel like blocks.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thanks very much. Thanks to Off the Ball once again. Thanks, guys.
No worries, man. Take care. Eric Donovan there. Short ad break.
Off the Ball on News Talk. The Pat Kenny Show.
On tomorrow's programme, Professor Luke O'Neill with all the latest coronavirus science, the mystery of the missing Kim Jong-un. Is it time to consider abandoning the Leaving Cert for this year? We revisit Dr. Zhivago, we've covers and comedy, and of course all the breaking news.
The Pat Kenny Show.
Tomorrow morning at 9.
On News Talk.
This is an important safety message from Dunnes Stores. We encourage one trolley, one person shopping, please. The more people who go shopping, the higher the risk of spreading COVID-19. It can also increase queue time.